Hey, what it do? Welcome back to the channel. We're just having a great day. So I did just wrap up my little live video on the SSR 140. I tried making like a full-length video on it. It just was not going very well. I kept bouncing back and forth between other projects that I have going on. And when we do get fully into this bike, I want to like really submerge myself in it. And we're going to make some pretty cool upgrades to the track. And I just want to give that bike the credit it deserves instead of just like a video that's like, yeah, we want to get some of my buddies over here. We're going to have like a little bit of a race day, all that kind of good stuff. And with me just goofing around, holding the camera by myself, it just was not turning out pretty good. So what we got going on today, we're going to be shifting gears kind of back to the more traditional side of the channel. We're going to be working on tractors, not the old grader, not this water tank, not old blue. But we're gonna be working on the backhoe. So if you guys remember when I picked up those new fancy tools from Amazon that were used for taking off, this is called the gland nut right here. And I failed miserably, made an idiot of myself in front of the whole world. Sometimes that's just how it goes, and I do fail from time to time. But it did make me feel better because when I took these down to actually get rebuilt, I took them to a place called Rupp's Hydraulic Service, which they do great work. I don't have any complaints. But they struggled, and they have all of like the big gazillion-dollar hydraulic tools to actually service these things. So long story short, they were not able to get the nut off of that cylinder, which makes me feel better inside. What they ended up having to do was cut it off, and then from that point, they had to basically like use some sort of extraction process, and it ended up being a whole ordeal. So between Christmas, New Year's, all that time in between, it took them a couple weeks to get that cylinder repaired. But they did it. And as you guys can see, I have it in place already. It's not installed. This is the other one. We're gonna go ahead and get both of those ones installed. And then once we get those two repaired, we're gonna come over to the back of the machine right here where we have these two cylinders. Those are also leaking, but I think we're gonna be able to service those still in the machine. And if we can't, that's kind of a bummer because this thing had a claw installed on it and the little control mechanism right here was installed to where we cannot lift this plate off. You guys can see I already took the bolts out in preparation to go ahead and remove these cylinders. And I shortly discovered that that plate is not coming up without a bunch of extra work right here. So I'm gonna opt to try and repair those while still on the machine. We can remove these pins so we can pivot these back and forth. And then we have one more issue with it, and that is that the brakes don't work on it. And that's the major issue. The leaking cylinders up front were pretty bad, but the not stopping is a problem. So that's what today's video is gonna be about. And as always, there may be something else that makes its way in there. I don't know, but hope you guys enjoy it. Let's go ahead and jump on into it and let's roll. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with this one yet. I don't even know if it works. They say it did. So anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and get all nasty greasy again and get this thing taken apart. Curious to see if we can get this nut off again though. See if the old 3/4 inch Milwaukee still has it in there. I'm gonna go ahead and call this the shuttle. They're all replaced in here as well. They are super heavy and they're going on my pickup. So initially when I started this project, I thought it was gonna be quick and easy. Hydraulic cylinder work usually isn't too bad. I'm gonna give you guys a quick little backstory on a couple issues that we had. Initially on these front two cylinders, I had removed them. I didn't disassemble them yet, even though I wasn't able to, but I thought in my mind that I was gonna be able to. And so I went down to our local John Deere dealer. I gave them the serial number on this beautiful antique of a backhoe. And they said, ooh, sorry, you're about 2 years too late. And they were so kind as to let me know that I could not get parts for these cylinders anymore. But they do sell a complete cylinder. And I was like, well, how much are they? And they told me $2,700 a piece. That's a lot of money. And so at that point, I was like, well, let me see what I can do. I started calling around and they ended up going to Rupp's. They did a great job. They were able to get them repaired, even though I completely boogered up that top gland nut. And so that video's progress got halted real quick. And so I think today's the day where we actually kind of get back into the groove of things and start making progress. So hydraulic cylinders are a very basic concept. You basically have like a, we'll just say like a ring in here that's at the bottom of this shaft right here.
And basically you'll pressurize from this side and it'll push that plate up this way. Or if you pressurize it from this side, it'll push the plate back down that way. And that's what causes this to go up and down.
And this backhoe has a pretty cool bucket on the front. This is called a 4-in-1 bucket. And basically this part hinges open. You can use this as a blade or a bucket, or you can grab stuff with it. Pretty versatile. I don't know what the fourth function would be. I don't know. Anyways, I can only think of 3 off the top of my head. And you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to figure out what the fourth function would be. Because you got the blade, you got a bucket, you can grab stuff with it. I don't know what the fourth function would be. I don't know why they call it a 4-in-1 bucket. I think I'm gonna do a quick Google search and figure that one out. You know, I think this is kind of a lame definition. It says typically acting as a standard bucket for digging. There's function number 1. A grapple to grab objects. There's function number 2. A dozer blade for pushing material. That would be function number 3. And then it says, and a scraper for grading essentially. I feel like a dozer blade and a scraper blade is pretty much the same thing on the front of one of these tractors. I vote that we call it a 3-in-1 bucket instead of a 4-in-1. Anyways, not important. We're gonna go ahead and get these things hooked up. I just have to install a pin here, pin there. It's really easy. Hook the hoses back up. I think the hoses are still okay shape. They look a little bit cracked, a little bit weathered, but if it ain't broken, don't fix it. All right, so as far as installing this cylinder goes, everything's still super tight in here. This thing's not very easy to move. I tried doing it when the lines were still off and wasn't really budging. So all you really have to do is go ahead and hook up the lines. And then once we actually turn the tractor on, we can go ahead and push this up using the machine, of course, make it easy. And that'll probably be like a 2-person job. We'll just have 1 person watching it. And as this comes up, we'll just slide that pin in when the time comes. And easy day. So we're gonna go ahead and make our way over to that side and we'll get that one done next. All right, so cylinder number 2, same song and dance. It's all plumbed up. We just don't have it connected up here yet. But like I said, easy day once we get the tractor turned on. Now we can start focusing on the rear end, which honestly, I think I'm gonna push it till tomorrow because the sun's about to start to go down over that hill. And I don't want to lose any small parts in here. So we'll be back at it first thing again in the morning. I'm hoping that it only takes me like 3-4 hours to get the cylinders rebuilt. I already have all the parts for them. And for some reason, John Deere did have a rebuild kit for those. So hopefully they don't give as much grief as the front ones did. And then once we get this knocked out, we can go ahead and focus on the brakes and get that problem resolved as well. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, so a lot's happened since the sun went down last night. I had an opportunity present itself to me that was just simply too good to pass up. Has nothing to do with the backhoe that's parked in the back, but when something like this presents itself to you, you don't pass up on it. Now, we're not gonna focus on this in today's video, and it's definitely gonna be one of those will it work type scenarios. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what we scored this morning. We got this gem of a compressor. This thing is a very well-built, high-quality machine, American-made. I was told that it ran when they quit using it. We just had a couple minor issues. So we're gonna go ahead and try and straighten these boxes out. There's obviously some sort of fitting that's missing right here. I'm pretty sure this is just gonna be like the pressure cutoff switch. But it's a 3-phase motor, 5 horsepower, just an absolute beast of a unit. As far as compressors go, this one's pretty big. You guys can see that it takes up a good portion of my truck bed. Well, behind it, you guys, is like the big kahuna of compressors. Look at this thing. Look at the size of these pipes right here. They're just absolutely massive. This thing makes so much air, 15 horsepower, 3-phase, just a beast of an electric motor down there. I mean, this thing is just ridiculous how big it is. Obviously, there's a couple issues with it, and it may end up just being a big paperweight, but we had room for it, so we went ahead and threw it in here. And let me tell you guys, that thing is heavy. I think it weighs probably close to 600 pounds without a tank. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with this one yet. I don't even know if it works. They say it did. Whether or not that's true, I don't really care too much. I was down there anyways. I went down there mainly for this one. but I'm not gonna shake a stick at that thing. So that'll probably just get put up on the shelf for now, and we'll focus on this another day. But I just wanted to show you guys that real quick. Super excited about it, but we're gonna go ahead and make our way back to the old John Deere, see if we can get those cylinders broken loose, get them taken out, and get the new seal kits installed. All the hydraulic fancy pants stuff should be in this bag right here. So just for reference, this is the compressor that I've been rocking for probably the last 8 years. It's a great unit, makes air pretty quick, but just so you guys know, this is a 3.7 horsepower, and the pump is significantly smaller on this one than it is on the one that's in the back of my truck. So not that this is a bad unit, but the one that's in the back of the truck is just an absolute beast. So anyways, we're gonna go ahead and make our way back to the backhoe, and we're gonna get to work. All right, so like I said yesterday, originally I was gonna go ahead and remove the entire cylinder, but we have this stupid little thing right here. So this plate cannot come out. So we're gonna go ahead and leave those in there. You guys can see I went ahead and took out the bolt right here that holds this pin in place. So we're gonna go ahead and start driving these down, see if we can get the pins to come out the bottom, and then we'll do the other side. And we should be able to rotate these enough to where we can get the spanner wrench on here to hopefully break that gland nut loose, and we can just pull the whole assembly out to the side. Hopefully this goes smoother than the front did. And so far so good. Pin number 1. There's pin number 2. That was easy. Go ahead and put this catch pan over here so we can catch any fluid that comes out. Oh, if I can't get this in there, I'm gonna be so upset. I can't really get the spanner wrench in there because of this plate right here, but I did pop it loose, so I might be able to. Nah, you know what? We're just gonna try this route real quick. It's not ideal. Oh. It does want to come up actually, so maybe I try and pry this up a smidge. Maybe I can do it on this side. Just need a little bit. Come on, a little more. There we go. Okay. Don't let me down. See, and that's how easy it should be. I don't know if you guys remember when I was doing the ones with the 4 holes in there. It just was no way, shape, or form wanting to come out. All right, so you guys can tell we finally got a little bit of rain falling from the sky, which is great news for the pit bike track and for my front field up there. Maybe tomorrow I'll actually throw the seed out and mix it in since we get a little bit of moisture, and the dirt's not gonna be as dry as it has been. I don't mind running the sprinklers from time to time, but it just has been absolutely insane how dry. So as far as my weekend goes, it's already planned out. I'm putting seed in the ground. But as far as this thing goes, I'm gonna try real hard not to get too upset. I'm pretty much gonna have to take all of this apart to get this top plate off, because for one reason or another, the gland nuts right here are just free spinning. They're not coming out. And hopefully we're able to get these cylinders out to where we can get them on a bench and be gentle with them, be a little bit methodical about it, and then we can actually get them disassembled so we don't have to buy new ones, because like I said, the front cylinders are $2,700 a piece. Luckily we were able to get them rebuilt for less than half of that for both of them. So I already have the parts for this. Hopefully we're just able to do it all in-house. So anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and get all nasty greasy again and get this thing taken apart. All right guys, well believe it or not, we were able to get this out, but now that I'm looking at it, we might have another problem. The valve body assembly has something hanging out right above that cylinder right there. Not sure if you guys can see that, but that may prohibit us from removing these cylinders. So we may have to take even more stuff apart, which is super bummer, because I was really hoping that these things were just gonna lift out. There is a chance that when I rotate it that way, it might be able to come up, So let's just cross our fingers. But I'm gonna go ahead and take this plate out. But I'm gonna have to set the camera down for that one because this is a little bit on the bigger side of things. Now, I know space back here is like a precious commodity. There's a lot going on right here with the backhoe attachment, but I really think there was a little bit of room for improvement on the design. Just like another 1/4 inch would have been great. I did get the first cylinder out, and after that one's gone, we are able to rotate this thing over, and I think at this point we'll be able to lift it up to where we'll be able to slide it back and then get it out. That first one, I mean, we're talking like 1/16 of an inch I was able to get that thing out. So had it not come out, I'm looking at the rest of this, I think I would have had to unbolt the valve assembly right there and lift all that up just a little bit just to be able to get that one cylinder off. Now, I'm not like a professional John Deere mechanic, and I'm just going about this, but that would have been my next step. So let's cross our fingers that we can get this one out, because there's no way, shape, or form that if this one's rotated to the left that it's going to come out. So let's go ahead and test our luck with this guy and see if we can get it out. I got a hose connected back there still. But regardless, we're out. Much easier than that first one was. But I do need to slide this forward and get that last hose off. Go ahead and put like a little indicator on here so we can know what it is. All right, well, we got both the cylinders off. Here's the first one, second one standing over there. You know what, after we took them off, I'm actually kind of glad that we went through all that extra effort to get them off, because as you guys can see, the hydraulic hoses, they're in pretty rough shape. They got some pretty serious cracks on them. So we're gonna go ahead and have to take those in to get rebuilt. And the rest of them look pretty good on here. I don't think I need to worry about them. But those two probably twist back and forth the most, and that's why they're starting to show signs of fatigue. So all in all, it's probably a good thing that we took these things off. But I'm gonna go ahead and get them into the shop. We can start to clean them up, go through them. I'll show you guys what the inside of one of these cylinders looks like. So I carried the first cylinder into the shop by hand, and I'm not gonna redo that because these things are heavy. So went ahead and got my trusty wheelbarrow over here. We're gonna pick this thing up. I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple rags down. Not that it matters too much because we're gonna be taking it apart anyways, but we'll try and keep the hay out of the hydraulic fittings. Oh yeah, 1,000 times easier this way. All right, so the problem that I was having while these were on the tractor is when I would put the spanner wrench on here and try and loosen this, typically these will start to back out, but it kind of just looks like it was free spinning in there, and I don't know why. And the biggest pro is I'm gonna be able to do more than a 1/4 turn at a time. We'll be able just to have all access all the way around this thing. But what's kind of a trip about this cylinder is it has another nut, or I guess technically this kind of looks like a plug that can come out on this side too. Typically, most cylinders are usually solid on the back end right here. I don't know why this one isn't. There's got to be some reason to it. But we're going to go ahead and start to dig into this a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and spray some degreaser on it, get this area cleaned up so we got nice clean areas to work with. And then we'll hopefully try and get this thing taken apart. All right, well, after spending about 5 or 10 minutes trying to take this thing out, trying to like figure out what's going on, I think I may have finally figured it out. And for those who remember back when I was rebuilding the mower deck for the old John Deere, it had that one fitting where I would pull out one bearing at a time. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some sort of race in here that holds a bunch of little bearings, and we're gonna have to take them out, and basically it's gonna act as like a retaining clip on the inside for this thing. So that's where I'm gonna put my money. We're gonna go ahead and take it out and see what we can see. I've already loosened it up, and I promise you guys this is the first time. I'm really hoping that I open this up and there is exactly what I'm hoping is in there. Well, I think I'm gonna be let down. I don't see anything in there. I'm gonna go ahead and rotate it and see if there's some sort of other slot that somehow magically has some sort of pin that I have to take out. Because as of right now, I'm kind of at a standstill because I'm kind of scratching my head trying to figure out how to get, I thought it was a gland nut, but it is not a nut because there's no threads because it's not going anywhere. So it's just a cylinder gland, I guess is what you would call it. So let's go ahead and rotate this thing around a little bit and let's see what's inside. I don't think that's anything. Yep, big old 0. Whatever's holding this thing in place is just a step back from that hydraulic fitting. There's gonna be something right there on the inside that is holding this from coming out. Because I have spun this probably, I'd say at least 30 times around, and it doesn't go anywhere. So there's some sort of retaining apparatus. It's gotta be right there. But it is driving me nuts because these things are on there pretty good. We may have to heat these up, slide these off to see kind of what's inside. Gonna do a little bit of research right now, see if I can find anything as far as removing these caps, because as of right now, we are stuck in the mud. All right, so right now I'm struggling with the exact same thing that I was struggling with on the first 2 cylinders that we had repaired. I cannot get these nuts off in any way, shape, or form. So before I go ahead and order the $300 tool that you use to take this thing off, we're gonna go ahead and heat it up just a little bit. And I actually just got done speaking with one of the hydraulic shops in San Diego. And they said that they don't have them for sale or for rent. He says, anytime that we need like a goofy tool, we'll just make it ourselves. He says, but typically we just use a big pipe wrench. And you know, here we have a big pipe wrench, and we're just gonna cross our fingers that when we add a little bit of heat to it, the coil is able to soak in, things loosen up a little bit, that this cylinder will expand. I guess it's technically just a cap. It's not really a nut or a bolt or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure this has to come out. And I think how the rest of this thing disassembles is that there's another nut on the inside that you have to remove. Once you take that nut off, the whole thing will slide out. And then you guys will be able to see what keeps this locked in place. And I'm just continuing to take things apart. I've never taken apart a cylinder like this. It's definitely on the more complicated side of cylinders. Seems a little bit ridiculous to me, but we're just gonna keep going. We are gonna get it apart, hopefully. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the camera down. We're gonna try and get some work done. Sorry that pole's in the way. I'm gonna try and not get too wild with it. Come on, baby, let's go. Yeah, we got her! Woo! A little bit of heat goes a long way. Ah, that's like the only thing that's gone right on this project so far. Oh my gosh. We're gonna go ahead and let that cool down. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys why this thing was so hard to take off. You guys can see all that rust in there. If I hadn't put any heat to that thing or put any coil on it, I don't think there was a prayer in the world that this thing would have came off. But we got it. It's broken loose. It's definitely warm still. I can feel the heat radiating off of it. So like I said, we're gonna let it sit for a little bit before I take that out. And I should probably slide my bucket back over because we're definitely gonna have a little bit of leaking when we take that end cap off. Things might be looking up. I got my guess right on the very first try. It's an 1 13/16 socket. We have that little booger right there. For anybody who may not be familiar with these nuts right there, they are just unbelievably torqued down. Like sometimes in the thousands of foot-pounds. Like it's a serious number. So hopefully my air impact is able to pop it loose right now. This is the only thing that I'm like, I may not be able to do it. I may have to take this down to John Deere and have them bust that nut loose. And that's literally the only thing I would have them do. So we'll see how it goes. Let's cross our fingers that my 3/4 inch air impact is able to pop this loose. If not, I do need to run into town to get the larger air fittings so I can hook up the 1 inch impact, because I'm pretty sure that would do it. But we're gonna go ahead and give the little guy a shot, see if he can do it. I'm gonna have faith. I do have the cordless version of it along with the air powered. So we're gonna really put Milwaukee to the test right now. We're gonna see, yeah, I think that's the 3/4. We're gonna see if it can do it. Got a fresh battery. We're gonna use one of the high output 6.0s. I don't know. What do you guys think? Think it'll pop it loose? I kind of don't think it will, but it's going to be really cool if it does. Get in there. Come on. Wah wah. No dice. Oh, the Milwaukee did it. Good job, Milwaukee. I'm impressed. Look at you. Make Daddy proud. All right, so we are officially to the part of the project where we have to start to be super careful. And so I have my little workbench. I know this is a disaster, but I have my work area cleaned off. We are just going to go piece by piece in sequential order. And then that way when we go to put it all back together, there's no confusion. It's literally pick up one piece, put it in. Go on to the next, put it in. Because this has to be exactly put back together how you took it apart. All right, so I'm really hoping now that we have that nut taken off and that we start taking things apart, that everything is able just to come out and that we are able to remove this cylinder gland, because that's the main reason we started this whole project, is this gland was leaking and that gland was leaking, and the actual cylinders themselves worked fine, but since we're gonna have them apart, we may as well rebuild them anyways. So my biggest concern is getting that out. So we're just gonna start going for it. We do have our magnet, we got our pick set right here. All of that's gonna come in very handy. Let's see. Nope. Let's go ahead and try a pick. There we go, got that. That's pretty hefty. Okay. I guess we could just go like that. Let's see. There it is. Okay, I'll be back. Slowly but surely we'll get there. You guys can see everything has now been removed. I'm gonna go ahead and take this thing out of the vise because there's a lot of moisture in the air right now. You don't really want water on this. It's just bare metal. It does have hydraulic fluid on it, so kind of protected a little bit, but we're still gonna get it out of the elements. So we're officially to the putting back together stage of things. We're gonna be starting with this guy right here. You guys can see I already removed everything from this channel right here. Most of it's sitting right there. And there's a piece of paper in here that I thought was kind of funny. It says, because of design changes, extra parts may be included in this kit. Do not install more parts than were originally included on your machine. So the only ones that I can find that are not really hanging out anywhere inside here are all these weird orange ones and some of these O-rings. I don't know what machine they are for, but I'm not seeing anything on this, so we're gonna go ahead and just start putting back together this guy right here. This is what was on the end of that, had the big nut on it. And this is basically what slides back and forth. It gets pressurized from this, or where's the other one? Right there, and that's what controls your cylinder. Well, as far as checklists go for blood, sweat, and tears, we just got our first blood. We got a little bit of a cut right there. Not too bad. Tears, definitely been some struggles. I have been extremely frustrated at times with this build. The only thing that's missing is sweat. Hasn't been hot enough to sweat yet. But as far as cylinder number 1 goes, we have all of the seals on this guy replaced. As far as the exterior ones go, I'm gonna go ahead and call this the shuttle. They're all replaced on here as well. So we can go ahead and slide this back into the cylinder. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the other part that's over there. We'll see if we can get it to slide in there. And then we'll just start slowly putting everything back together. And then we gotta cross our fingers that we can get the second cylinder apart as well. All right, well, there definitely are quite a few parts left over that we did not use. I don't know what those would be for. Pretty much replaced everything that was possible to take out on this guy and this guy. Now, if this is removable and there's stuff on the back side of that, which I'm sure there has to be, I don't know how to get to it. It was not leaking from there. So we're not gonna worry about it too much. We just wanted to replace the main friction parts right here. So we're gonna go ahead and leave that guy as is. And let me go ahead and run over and grab I guess, the main part of the swing cylinder. I don't know. Oh. So we're gonna go ahead and see if we can get this thing to fit back in there. It's probably gonna be much tighter than when we took it out. And there's always gonna be just a little bit of finagling anytime you're putting stuff in with new seals. You wanna be extremely careful. I'm trying to find a good spot to put my camera. I don't really have anywhere to set my camera, so we're just gonna set it there for now. Okay. See how this goes. All right, so we got one completely done. It's all put back together. We're gonna go ahead and let that hang out for a minute. We got the other one in the vise already. We're gonna see if I gotta use heat to get this one popped open too. It's already clamped down, ready to go. So I definitely should have done this with the other cylinder. I just kind of jumped into it, and really it's bad practice, but I went ahead and pressure washed this one, so we're not gonna be fighting grease the whole time. All right, so long story short, this cylinder is doing the exact same thing that the other one did. This end cap does not want to come off, so we're gonna go ahead and start heating this up. Day. So as much as I would like to start working on this right away, this is pretty thick metal. It's hot, and it does take a minute to cool down. So I think we're just gonna hang out, enjoy the scenery, and then in about 10 minutes, I'll go ahead and start handling that thing. I think it'll be cool enough at that point to go ahead and start working with it. All right, so it's still pretty warm, but I think, ooh, actually, yeah, that's pretty toasty still. We're gonna go ahead and use these. Man, there is just a ton of junk in here. We got a bunch of old nasty buildup and residue. So it's probably a good thing that we're taking these things all the way apart. Curious to see if we can get this nut off again though. We're gonna see if the old 3/4 inch Milwaukee still has it in her to take off the second one. And maybe not, I don't know. Let's give it a go. Beautiful, rock solid. All right, we're in business. Cylinder number 2 on its way. All right, so as far as this cylinder goes, I really haven't done anything yet. I just wanted to show you guys the difference. We have this dust seal right here. This is the very first seal on a series of seals that comes through here. You guys can see how there is a huge gap right here, and there's nothing touching the actual metal rod right here. Now, if we come over to the other one that's already been all the way put back together, I'm gonna show you guys what it should look like. So you guys can see that on this one, we have this first seal, which I call like the dust seal. It actually comes out onto this metal rod. It's gonna keep it way cleaner. It's gonna keep all the dirt and debris, or at least most of it, from making its way into the cylinder. So when all those things start to fade, dirt will slowly make its way in there, even if it's just like a little bit of time. And if you guys remember when we took this cap off, there was just a ton of gunk and buildup on the inside of it. Most likely that's where it came from. All right, so looking in here, you can just see how absolutely mangled all of this is. There's just like brittle rubber in here, which should be like somewhat pliable, but it's just crumbling apart. So pretty much everything in here is bad. We're gonna go ahead and yank it all out again and replace them all. And then once we get it all completely disassembled, I'll go take it, I'll blow it out real good, get all the dirt out that's in there. We'll go ahead and put it back together. All right, so as far as today goes, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up because before I put these things back in, I wanna put the new hydraulic hoses on them. And it's late Friday afternoon. I don't think anybody's gonna be open by the time we could get there. So come Monday, I will go ahead and get the new hoses. We'll get them installed. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. And I'm actually really excited because tomorrow I'm gonna start like a different video. We're gonna be planting some seed tomorrow. You guys can see we got lots of water. It's gonna be a great day for it. And I'll see you guys on Monday. All right, well, after we get this backhoe wrapped up, I think I need to spend a couple hours cleaning in the shop. It's starting to get a little bit cluttered, and the projects are starting to stack up. But I think tonight's the night where we go ahead, get the cylinders reinstalled, hopefully get all the lines hooked up, and then we can get it back into the shop. I may be working into the night a little bit, but my goal is to get the backhoe in that bay over there to where we can start to work on the brakes. But as far as tonight goes, this is the main goal right here. We're just gonna kind of put our heads down and get to work and try and get those things installed. And I do not feel like carrying them all the way back to the back. They are super heavy and they're going on my pickup. Whew. Golly, those are heavy. All right, well, so far they're going in pretty good. I got both cylinders resting in there. Obviously don't have the top bracket on. Gonna go ahead and show you guys the beautiful fresh new hoses we got made. Got these bad dogs right here. Flame resistant, just in case they catch on fire. Actually kind of forgot the routing of these. I need to crawl down underneath there because it does get just like a little bit tricky. So I gotta make sure that I do it right so we're not messing anything up, because they do have T's on the back. So it has to be like done perfectly. I just need to make sure that I'm sending them to the correct places. All right, guys, well, we are done with the backhoe for tonight. Obviously, it's super dark and I don't have time to really do any testing, and I need to do some machining on this. So when I get back tomorrow, I'll obviously have a little bit more daylight. We'll run it through like a full cycle. We'll get it hot, we'll do some digging. We'll double check to make sure everything that works, but until then, not a whole lot I can do, and I will see you guys tomorrow. All right, well, made it home with just a little bit of daylight to spare, so we're actually gonna get to run this thing around, put a little bit of pressure on it. Last night we did just some very... All right, guys, batteries are not my friend today with the GoPros. I literally just threw 2 in the trash. So anyhow, we do have a little bit of light right now. You guys can see we got the John Deere warming up. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass the camera off because I'm not gonna be able to operate and film doing this at the same time. All right, we're back on the GoPro. Hopefully we got enough battery to finish the video. I'm just pulling it into the shop. We're not gonna be doing anything else on it today, but it is gonna start raining like cats and dogs the next couple days. And so I don't wanna be working on this thing in the mud, because the next project that I have to figure out is the brakes. And that's gonna involve me being underneath the tractor a lot. So we're gonna try and we're gonna go ahead and put to screws this video. I do appreciate you taking some time out of your day to watch the video. If you could do me a huge solid like, subscribe, share this with your amigos, hit that notification button down below so you guys can continue to see progress on the old John Deere 410. I will give you a little hint on the next video as far as repairs that are being made. Those are the brakes right there. Disaster. Nasty what you guys are gonna see inside that thing. But anyways, thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.